jumping onto the internet, you see people talking about how you should become a polymath, someone who's an expert in a number of different domains. And the ambition is reasonable. Many of humanity's most celebrated discoveries came from people who engaged with a variety of interests, and being a polymath can give you fulfillment. You'll start to see connections across different domains. You start to understand the systems our world is based on, and you can create new, creative connections at the edge of our current knowledge, at the edge of what's happening. From a business perspective, being one of those people, polymaths, might also make you some good money. But is it easy to become one, or doable at all? One of the leading voices for becoming a polymath is Dan Coe, the guy portraying himself as a modern-day philosopher. He says, become one. And then again, when you jump onto polymath subreddits, people think differently. You either are one by nature or you're not. You can't become one, and IQ is of inherent relevance. I wanted to dive deeper into this, so I had 2 burgers and began reading papers to find out what theory says. The first thing I noticed is that, guys, we still have a few steps to take, we really do, when it comes to open source science. 49 euros for this little paper is not like, fuck that. And yes, literature does say that the subreddits are kind of right. Polymathic giftedness is a precursor for the polymathic path. Still, let's give you my personal opinion after having spent years studying personality types like scanner personalities, multipotentialites, and polymaths. Hunting this definition of who's a polymath and can you become one just circles around how high we set the bar for how good you must be at those multiple domains. And to be honest, like, who can even measure that properly? In the end, to make money from multiple domains has so many other factors involved besides giftedness. It's which domains you chose, who you met and talked to about an idea, and not to mention, guys, the variable of luck. So why don't we ignore this dick measurement contest around can you become a polymath and rather tackle the question, can or should you become multi-passionate? Meaning, we don't care whether you got what it takes to become an expert, but is it worth it to jump into multiple things? Well, yes. From your childhood on, people ask you, what do you want to become? What do you want to work as? And children's whole path is streamlined towards specialization. So many great passions are most probably buried below that one boring degree you've been chasing because your parents and teachers led you towards it. Maybe there's more, and if we assume going multi-passionate is worth it, then the question becomes, how wide should you go? 3 hobbies or interests, 6, 10, how often to cycle them? Let it happen naturally or do it in a structured way. A lot of this depends on your current situation. How old are you? Do you have money? Can you afford to dive into a lot of different things, or do you need to earn money right now? And then, do you have the grit to work full time in a more specialized job and learn on the sidelines before or after your full-time job? Many people probably don't. And I think as long as you're curious, you'll find your way and own style. Don't do it like a headless chicken though. Focus on knowledge management so you don't have to start over when you switch between interests because you forgot half of what you learned. Focus on goal management. It's nice to do many different things, but having some top-level goals to give you direction helps. And learn layer skills. These are skills that overlap all of your interests. For example, communication, decision-making. I created a whole course on this, but that's not what this video is about. Because while you may not be the genius that develops the next ChatGPT or finally flies us to Mars, let's face reality. Your industry or job might become automated, or you might become bored, or the worst, you might realize you lived the same life for years, done the same job, when you could have discovered something else that's much more fun. Go and live life more colorfully, without caring about the definition of who's a polymath and who isn't and whether it's worth it. And maybe, along the way, you learn how to learn everything that's out there, meet amazing people, and sit in your chair when you're 80 years old without regret.